4.5 years into Pando.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Feels great. I think the most exciting thing is when we started 4.5 years ago, we had a vision. We're executing on it, and a lot of people are really enjoying the messaging and really enjoying the service that they're getting from us.
So you still feel good about that decision?
Really do.
You got to ask every founder that. You never know, right?
Sleep a little different at night, but it's okay. It's short-lived.
Fits in spurts. Well, and now here at 4.5 years, you're seeing the kind of robust growth that you anticipated when you saw the opportunity to come into the industry with your own company.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk a little bit about that growth. What is that current growth like for you?
Yeah, so initially, we really just sought out to spread our message of enabling structured cabling firms and electrical contractors to take on more cellular DAS and public safety DAS. They're responding to a lot of different RFPs. They have a lot of house accounts, and commonly, since they're doing Wi-Fi, they're doing video systems, network cabling, a lot of other structured cabling solutions. Those same customers are asking them, hey, can you guys do DAS? Can you do public safety DAS? And in the past, a lot of them would say no, just because they didn't have in-house expertise, or they just had a bad experience with it in the previous iteration. But now that we're here, we're about relationships, we're about partnerships, and we make sure that we become an extension of their team so that we can help them, solve for the questions that they're getting as it relates to cellular and public safety.
Yeah. So the way that you managed relationships and saw a niche in the market through supporting other agents in the field, really kind of points to the kind of company culture that you foster both inside of Pando, but then outside of Pando as well. Mm-hmm. In the industry. What's that culture like, and how does it fuel you, and what do you see being the benefits of that culture?
Yeah, relationships are really what we're about. Yes, we do solve for cellular and public safety needs, but at the end of the day, we're a relationship-based company. I personally am a relationship-based person, and the business is not about a certain volume or a certain dollar amount. It's about building and strengthening relationships that we have with folks. And that's something that I really emphasize with all of my team members and with everyone that we work with. We want people to know that we're in the trenches with them, trying to solve for certain problems, but also helping them to get across the finish line to make their customers happy.
Yeah. What are the most important aspects of the relationships that you value in terms of trust, transparency?
Open communication and transparency are the big things.
Yeah.
Problems happen. It's just the nature of the business that we're in. We're a project-based company. In today's day and world, we're dealing with logistical challenges. Things happen on site where we had a project plan or timeline in place, and sometimes those things get changed. But it's not so much the problem that becomes the issue. It's from our standpoint, it's about how you address it and what you do about it. So we believe in open lines of communication. Everything that does happen, we're completely transparent about, and people really respect that because they know that we're real people just like they are. Things happen, and it's really having those lines of communication to ensure that everyone is on the same page about what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and so in the last 2 years, your team has doubled twice. Right, and
Mm-hmm.
so taking on that kind of growth internally as well in management and maintaining company culture, how does that feel? What are you most excited about?
Well, I'm certainly excited about the growth. Growth has challenges, just like anything else does. But what's really kind of put me at peace with it all is, again, we're not out there trying to hit certain numbers. We're taking care of customers as we need to, and we're taking care of our relationships as we need to. So based on that, that's what makes our decision on when we need, to maybe have an account manager or have a project manager or have an engineer assigned to a specific account. When we see there's a need that needs to be filled, that's when we're making those decisions. So, along those same lines too, it's really important for us to have the best people that are out there. Someone might not be specifically RF savvy or have a background in cellular public safety, but provided they share the same values that we do about transparency, about honesty, about open lines of communication, and they're just there to recognize that they're there to help someone get something done, that's the type of person that we're after. So when it comes to growth, that type of stuff is, hasn't really been an issue.
Yeah, attracting the right people to work for you too, mm-hmm. and attracting the right customers.
That's right.
So
not every customer is a great customer.
we're not all great every day.
No. Yeah, that's the other thing too, along the lines of not hitting like certain metrics, we say no to certain customers, and it's just because it's just not a good fit, and that's okay. I mean, that's the way the world works, and we're not here to take everyone's dollar. We want to make sure that it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah. And something I think that's always on people's minds when talking to CEOs and founders, especially during these phases of growth, is what's keeping you up at night?
Mm-hmm. Well, I take everything, I try not to take everything personally, but I do. When you build a relationship with certain customers, you're committing to getting something done or saying that you're going to fulfill and follow through with a particular item. So, I'd say that's what keeps me up most at night, or at least turns my brain on in the morning, is making sure that if I committed to getting something done in a certain time, I want to ensure that person knows that it's going to be there when I said I would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's basically integrity is what you're talking about. So if you look at it now too, you're at this wave of success in this growth curve that you saw the potential to achieve for right now. What does the next level of success look like for Pando?
Well, I think we've, kind of established ourselves as, that extension for certain companies as it relates to being able to, fulfill and deliver on cellular and public safety DAS. The next wave for us, and something that we've already started on and, have already, proactively been doing, is looking at the life cycle of these systems, right? So I think we talked about the idea of, being a project-based company, and while we certainly are, in the spirit of building relationships and having that integrity with folks, we want to continue to be a service to them day in and day out. So we don't want to just be a project, give them their closing package, as-built documentation, move on. We want to continue to be a partner for them and to be a solutions provider for them. So really what we're focused on long-term, and what the next wave for Pando is after we complete our projects, we want our customers to know that there's a life cycle involved with DAS. It needs to be managed, it needs to be maintained, it needs to be continually monitored to ensure that it's performing the way it was set up when we first deployed it. And we want to know that we're there to help them through those different items.
Yeah.
So, that's really the next wave for us, is to, really promote the fact and help people understand that, it's not just a one and done for us. We're there to support them throughout the life cycle of that particular system.
Yeah. So with bringing on these monitoring services for Pando, is it something only available to clients who you've established a project with previously, or is it something you could set up for anybody with a DAS system?
Absolutely not. I mean, initially, it's easy for us to sell to someone who we just actually put a system in for, but anyone who has a DAS or a public safety BDA or network, and to some degree, even Wi-Fi networks or other networks, we have the capability to monitor and provide lifecycle for all of that stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's exciting. Hear that, everyone? Well, let's switch gears for a second. Let's pretend Pando doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be doing instead?
Wow.
Drum roll.
I don't know the answer to that question.
That's the answer of a good founder. You're like, well, this is all I think about.
It is all I think about. I've always been a system solutions guy. I love to solve problems, and I just happen to be in tech. That's what my background is in IT. I can say that there is an element of, being interested in green tech to some degree. So if it weren't, telecommunications per se, I could see an interest in, getting involved in green tech, seeing how, as humans, as a species that, cover this world, we can be better at, treating the planet better.
Yeah.
Where I would just be, sitting in a camper maybe and riding my mountain bike and doing all things outdoors. But that's a complete, 180
Yeah.
shift.
I think you'd call that retirement.
Yeah.